Good evening, everybody. Welcome to CW Live. My name is Chris Webb, Head of Communications. On your screen, you can see our Deputy General Secretary, Telecoms and Financial Services, Andy Kerr. Good evening, Andy.
Evening, Chris.
And you can also see the President of the CW, Karen Rose. Evening, Karen.
Evening, Chris.
So nice to have you both with us. Even nicer though to have all of you members on, the thousands of you watching across our channel. So thank you for that. We're going to have loads and loads of information. This is a really, really important session. Whilst I'm going through the protocols, it'd be great if you let us know where you're watching from. Let us know how long you've been a member of the union. I'll try and get as many of those up on screen as I can during the session. But we know that you arrive on tonight's session with lots of questions. We want to know that you want an update. You want to know what's different. You want to know the next steps. You want to know how we win the dispute, and you want to know if there's an update for negotiations with the company. So the good news for all of you is you're going to get something on all of that tonight, and you're also going to get a rallying call from Andy and Karen about just how important it is for you to continue supporting the strike action. So I'm going to first of all open up to Karen, who's going to make a statement to the membership, and then Karen and Andy will take questions from you and from myself for the next sort of half an hour or so. We don't expect this to be a massive session. This is for us to share some new information with you and to, as I said, point out just how critical it is that you back the strikes, and then basically send everyone off with a rallying cry ready for Thursday's action. So whilst you're letting us know where you're watching from, I can see you all pumping that in the comments. I'll get those up now. Karen, if you could make an opening statement.
Thanks, Chris, and good evening, everybody. So what I want to say initially is absolutely fantastic. Well done. The support that you have offered as members to the strike action so far has been phenomenal. And we can't honestly say enough of how brilliant that has been. There is absolutely no doubt that it's put the company under pressure. Right, regardless of some of the missives that they might have sent out recently saying how well they're doing, that is completely untrue. We know that the work stacks are kind of up way beyond where they should be at the moment, and that's despite them closing the appointment books on strike days. We know that the call queues are higher. We know that people are waiting longer for broadband, that they're waiting absolutely ages, and there's loads of complaints on BT's Twitter feed about not being able to get appointments. So we know actually that the strike action that you have all been taking has absolutely had a massive impact on the company. And each extra day of strike action that we take, it actually has a cumulative effect. So it actually compounds the previous action, and it means the appointment books are closed again, and it pushes out that work stack yet again, and basically causes a backlog. So that's absolutely brilliant. And so we know that that's causing pressure on the company, and we want to increase that pressure on the company. Now, a few times we've told you that we were going to arrange a meeting of the major shareholders. I think the General Secretary and Andy has indicated that to you before. We have done that now. We have set up a meeting with the major shareholders. That meeting is going to take place next Monday afternoon. And we are going to be making the case to the shareholders to put pressure on BT, and we're going to expose BT to them for what they're doing, because actually it's not in anybody's interest, the stance that BT has taken up until now. In addition to that, we know that it's causing financial pressure on a lot of our members. So we've spoken to the General Secretary. We are going to set up a strike fund right across the union, and that is going to be for people who are facing dire and extreme financial hardship, because we know the financial pressure that the strike action is causing for our members. So in addition to that, what I will say is BT have half indicated that they might be willing to speak to us early November. We need to keep the pressure up before early November in order to push them into coming to meet us, as they've indicated they might be prepared to. And we need to also say that, it is going to come a time when we're going to need to reballot. That's going to happen around about mid-November. We're going to need to reballot. We will reballot, including EE, the whole three sections again, the Openreach, BT and EE. And we are going to consider this time putting that question, because we have listened to what the members have said to us, to what all of you have said to us, and we are going to consider putting that extra question on the ballot paper, which is about actions short of strike action, which will allow us to do things like have an overtime ban, for example. So we have listened to what all of you have been telling us about that, and you thinking that that's something that we should consider. So we've done that. And so all of these things that we have been listening to our members about. So the last thing I want to say is this. The other thing that we are taking a serious consideration of now, because we have listened to the feedback that we're getting out on the picket lines. Andy and myself in particular have been out in various different parts of the country on different picket lines. And we know that we do need to call the next action, which is over a greater number of days in the same week. And that is something that we're seriously considering at the moment. And, I think that we'll be coming to you soon with an announcement around that once we've cleared that off with the executive. So that's where we are. But what I want to say is, because of all those things, because of that pressure we need to maintain, your support, getting on those picket lines over the next 2 days of strike action, which is this Thursday and next Monday, is absolutely vital. And remember, on that last day of the strike action, we're meeting the shareholders on that day. The pressure needs to really, really build into next week, and we really, really need you supporting the strike action and on those picket lines.
Thank you, Karen. Fantastic. Obviously, you guys don't get to see the comments, but a massive support there for several of the announcements. So let's have a recap of what you said there, Karen. The consideration of more action, more significant action. The shareholders meeting will take place next week. The consideration from yourself and Andy and executive of reballoting the membership again to seek a new mandate, including EE, and the potential for consideration of an overtime ban, including that. The launch of a strike fund to support our members most desperately in need. And obviously, key, the need for the continuing support from our members for the strike action, so we can leverage any negotiations that take place with BT. Andy, I'm going to try and come through some of those with you if I can. First of all, I want to talk about greater action. So Karen said there, you was obviously saying yourself as well, listening to the members. We had a lot of calls last time, people saying, why don't we go for 4 days, why don't we go for 5 days? And obviously you were really clear, as was Karen, as was Dave. We have to manage this dispute, and we have to manage people's finances, and we have to look after people for taking them the long game. Is it now the time, post this bout of action, to take people on? I can see the comment right in front of me, let's do a week. Is that sort of what your mind is, Andy?
Yes, is the very, very short answer to that. No, I think it is about time we ramp up. We have been listening, as Karen said, around as we do these Facebook Lives, we do listen to the people who come onto this. We have been listening to people in the picket lines, been listening to our activists, our branches, and others. And it's great. Hindsight's a great thing, but we have done what we've done. It has had a big effect on the company, no matter what the company's saying. I mean, this is intimidation in some respects from the company, trying to demoralise people. I can assure you that's not the case. We know the numbers, you know the numbers, you can access them easier than I can access them, but we know where the work stacks are out there, and this is hurting the company. But the issue is about sometimes how they recover, and that's where the issue about potentially, Chris, as you saying, going for 4 or 5 days a week, whatever the case may be, might come into it, because that is going to have a major effect, and they know that. So yes, we are looking at that. We're looking at the overtime ban, sort of work to rule type piece. Well, and as I've said many times about a work to rule situation, I expect people to do what they should be doing anyway. They should be working to their job descriptions, and they should be doing the health and safety issues they should actually be doing, if you like. But overtime ban is certainly in their consideration. So nothing's rolled out at all here. We will up the ante a bit. The question is when we get that decision and when we actually set that, and that's the bit of debate we still have to have. As you said, as Karen had said earlier, we are having these 2 days of action. We have been indicated that the company would be willing to talk to us early November, but we need to put that company under pressure. So I don't want the company to think that they can just come along to a meeting with us and give us the same drivel, as I would call it, that they've gave us before, in the meetings we had many weeks ago with them. That's not good enough. We need them to come with a proposal to settle this dispute, and that's why we need to think about the timing of it, when we put the pressure on them, because there has to be a backstop on those discussions. Those discussions can't take long. They have to be very short, and there has to be a backstop, because if we don't get to reach some sort of settlement, it looks like a settlement, we need to have something in our back pocket ready to go, and that's what we intend to do.
Spot on, Andy. Thank you. One of the things that happens really rarely is happening on our Facebook Live tonight and CW Live, which is that the audience is increasing as the session goes. So obviously, people are really in a good place about the announcements that have been made and are sharing it with colleagues. So keep getting that word out there. And if you're still with the union, we've no doubt, as we say on all these sessions, management will be watching in tonight and looking through those comments. Simply put, I'm with my union in the comments now. So I'm with my union, and we'll get as many of those up on screen as we possibly can. Karen, I want to come to the point around the shareholders. So there's been loads of positive comments around the fact that we're meeting the shareholders. Some people going, oh, it's taking too long. Maybe a little bit about, obviously you can't get all those types of people and big businesses in a room overnight. So a little bit about, like some rationale around that, and maybe some of the things we'll be saying to expose BT and apply pressure to BT, and what we'll be asking those shareholders to do. So a little bit of an update on the shareholders for you, if I can.
So you're absolutely right, Chris. It's not an easy thing to get together, because as you can imagine, the shareholders are many and varied, and not only many and varied, but they're international shareholders. So these are not people that all sit in the UK. These people sit all over the world, basically. And so setting up a meeting in order to get the maximum participation of the shareholders is really, really something that has to be planned over a long period of time. And we did engage with two outside organisations in order to help us to set up this meeting, to make sure we've had a really, really good level of participation. And we believe now that the date that we've set, which is next Monday, and the indications so far are that there will be a considerable number of those shareholders that have indicated that they intend to come to this meeting. So look, the shareholders will quite clearly be concerned about the fact that the share price is plummeted, quite clearly be concerned about what's happening in the company, quite clearly they'll be concerned about the morale of the workforce, because in order to run a successful business, all of those things really have to be right, and quite clearly they're very wrong at the moment, because it must be clear to everybody, other than the BT board by the sound of it, how demoralised and uncomfortable with the company's position that our members team members are, the CW members. So some of the things I suppose that we want to put to the shareholders is to put the case as to why CW members, you are the ones who have earned the company money. You are the ones who are responsible for the profit that was created. Make no mistake about it. It is those ordinary workers that are out there, whether they're climbing poles, whether they're answering calls, whether they're digging holes, basically. All of our members, whether they're desk-based, field-based, all of them are so important. You are the ones who create the profit in this company. And the truth is, you haven't had your fair share. You haven't had your fair share. It's not right that in a cost of living crisis, a company that could afford to give you a cost of living pay rise hasn't given you a cost of living pay rise. And that is the case that we're going to be putting to the shareholders. We're going to be putting the case to them that actually a workforce that is well rewarded, a workforce that gets rewarded for what they have achieved and what they have earned on behalf of the company, is actually a workforce that will do well for the company in the future. So that's the case that we're going to be putting to the shareholders. And look, these shareholders, they're big shareholders, and we've made great play about the fact that 750 million pounds worth of the profit was shared between those shareholders. But the truth is, actually, ordinary people needed the money far more than they did. Absolutely every single worker in BT, the team member population, you needed the money far more than the shareholders did. And we actually believe that some of those shareholders will acknowledge that, and actually will be prepared to put that pressure and to lobby BT to see sense and actually bring forward a proposal, as Andy has said earlier, to settle this dispute.
Thank you, Karen. Brilliant. So keep sharing. So thousands of you online now. Please share the link, tag your colleagues. Make sure we get as many more of you on. We'll be splitting up the session and getting smaller chunks videos out over the next day or so as well. So there's no excuse for people not to see what's gone on. Andy, I want to talk about the issue of reballoting our members from a few points of view, really. One, are you confident we're going to win that ballot? Two, are you confident that this time we'll get our EE colleagues over the line? And we saw in the recent dispute, actually, when we called the 999 members out on strike, that was almost like the cavalry coming out of the air. It was a shot of energy into the strike. And do you believe our EE colleagues can do the same? And thirdly, the issue of the potential overtime ban. I can see in the comments here, people, particularly Openreach members, really crying for that and saying, like, if we're serious, then we need to strike and add the overtime ban in. So the reballot, are we going to win it? EE and the overtime issue.
Yeah, as far as if we reballot, will we win it? I'm absolutely confident we'll win it. But we're trying to set up the timing, and I'll come back to that maybe in a minute, Chris. But yeah, I'm confident we can win it, and then we will win it. We definitely will be balloting EE as part of it. People know that, well, a lot of members out there know that there's going to be a change. And people have been stupid from consumer into EE in the beginning of November. So the dynamics change in the three parts of the company, the EE Limited, the BT PLC, and Openreach Limited. And yeah, I'd be absolutely confident of winning all three on this occasion. And it's really important that we do so, and we'll run that campaign. When do we need to do it? I think the question would be, well, the legislation in this country means that, we've got to, if we're going to continue with action after 6 months, we need to reballot. So that action date is the end of December. So if we were going to ballot so that we can continue to do some overtime ban, other days of strike action, etc., we probably do need to start that process for the ballot probably by mid-November, and that's really where we're thinking about. And if you go back to what I said earlier, the companies talking to us are intimating they're going to talk to us early November. I've said to you there's going to be a backstop to those discussions, days, certainly not weeks into that, and we will, between now and then, propose further action. It all runs in about the same time. So yes, we're preparing to reballot, Chris. If we get a deal, we don't need to ballot. Simple as that. If we can get a deal with the company, the ballot then would be, do you accept or reject where we've managed to negotiate to? But it all ties in roughly to the same time period, and that's quite important to us. So yeah, it's not as quick as some people would want, but and I get that, but we do need to reballot, and that will take place probably towards mid to late November.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant. Here's one for you, everybody. If you watching managerial colleagues as well, so we may think you're a little bit tired. So if you're not tired and you're ready for more, as Andy's just indicated, simply put, I'm voting yes in the comments now. I'm voting yes, and we'll let them know we're not only ready for this ballot, we're ready for the next one as well. Karen, I want to talk about the strike fund we're going to launch. So obviously, you want to frame that, because there's someone in here in the comments who's just said, Unite pay strike pay, other unions pay strike pay, and obviously we've set that out before. I think it's worth saying again that the size of those disputes are tiny in comparison to this one, and the amount of money is obviously huge. So we're not going to be in a position ever to do that. But what we're looking to do here is raise enough money where, if people are in dire straits, that they can come to the union and they can hopefully seek some help and get some help from the union. Just how keen are you to get the strike fund going? How important do you think it is, and does it send a message to all of our members that the union's got their backs?
Yeah, look, I think we've got to set the strike fund. We've got to fundraise in order to fund the strike fund. That's what we've got to do. We're not in the same position as some of the larger unions, not least because if you think about it, at the moment we've got two great disputes going on, or great big disputes, I should say. So we've got the one in BT Openreach, and we've also got one in Royal Mail, and actually that means that most probably about 80–90% of our union members at the moment are involved in strike action, and quite clearly that hasn't been the case. As you've outlined, or as Chris has outlined, the Unite situation, for example, a lot of those have been smaller groups of members, and it's easier and easier to fund it. But as I said earlier, we know that some of our members are facing real financial hardship. it's been absolutely fantastic and tremendous. The people that are in that situation have still supported the strike action, and that's been absolutely brilliant. But we now need to set up that strike fund, do the fundraising, and make sure that we're in a position to help anyone who finds themselves in that extreme financial hardship. So it's vitally important, in answer to your question, Chris, it's vitally important that we set up that fund and start fundraising in order to put money in that fund as quickly and as soon as we can now.
Thank you, Karen. Spot on. I think if management were watching the session, hoping people were tired, they're in for a sad shock there, which is great because the amount of people pumping that they're voting yes, which is brilliant. Keep it coming on. Keep busy trying to get them up on screen for you. Only a couple more questions. One more question, so I'm going to give you both a chance to sum up. Andy, I want to come to you to ask. Talking of being tired, a group of people are putting a hell of a amount of work as our branches and our reps.
Yeah.
And one of the asks that we've been given them is that they pack out the picket lines. And they get as many members and supporters. Obviously, the legalities of only having 6 people officially on the picket line, but we can have as many supporters there as we want. How critical is that, we see every picket line manned, we see mass support, and that members, not only take the step, which is brilliant, to withdraw their labour, but to actually physically come to a picket line. So we show BT, we have those hundreds of picket line pictures all over our social media channels, and we show how proud we are to be on strike and to be standing up to management. So how vital is it that branches redouble their efforts?
Well, no, it is vital, and I would ask, as you say, Chris, there's a lot of our activists and branch officers, etc. I mean, they've done a tremendous job over the last few months, and I'm sorry, guys, but I'm going to ask you to do it all again, and it's as simple as that. We need to win this fight. We need to keep it up. So yeah, I want you to get out there, get on the picket lines yourselves, but also get as many members as we possibly can onto those picket lines Thursday and Monday. It is important because it shows the company are taking notes of the picket lines. The company are doing the spying and they normally do. And I'm not worried about that, and I don't think anybody else should be. I'll be clear, I've been on many picket lines up and down the country over the last few weeks, and lots of the local managers are really good guys, and they come in, offering cups of coffee and things like that. So there is a bit of rapport there. But the good thing about picket lines is getting people here together on the picket lines, talk to each other. Of course, talk about the strike, talk about the company, talk about football, talk about whatever you want to talk about when you're on there, or talk about the state of the country, that might take a while, right enough. But anyway,
that'll last a 5-day strike.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it may last longer than maybe the Prime Minister at the moment. But anyway, it is really good. You can have. I said right at the beginning of all this, Chris. We have to have a bit of fun. And I know this is serious, and it is really, really serious, and people are suffering, and they are suffering. And I get that. And Karen's answered that about the strike fund. But come on, you need to get out there. Bit of camaraderie with each other. Let's boost each other up. We can win this fight. The thing about this fight is it's about pay today. If the company walk over us and pay today, they'll come back and come back and come back and things again. If you think things have been bad over the last couple of years, it could get a hell of a lot worse. So we need to be strong. We need to show the company. And one way of doing it is getting on those picket lines and showing them the strength. So when it is reported back into the centre from their managers, and they can say quite clearly, the CW were in every picket line. We had a good number of people out there. We are serious about this because it goes back to the first part we said, and Karen mentioned it about the work stacks, etc. It is hitting them. This is hitting them. We don't want to hurt this company. Our people spent their lives working for this company. We don't want to see this company come down. It's not the workforce. The workforce created the wealth. The workforce want the company to be successful. The people who have been a bit kamikaze in all this are the very senior management. They're the people that's trying to destroy it for whatever reason. I will never know. But, we need to be strong and get out of those picket lines over the next couple of days. And let's show them that we are all together in this.
Fantastic, Andy. Karen, I want to come back to you on the picket line issue as well, to give you the chance to, I suppose Andy's covered it really in great detail, what we're looking for our branches there and our representatives. How important is it that our members from, you two, right down the General Secretary, right down to the newest member, gets on those picket lines on Thursday?
Well, look, I've actually attended a load of picket lines around the country, and actually Andy is right, it is quite good fun, and it's great to see them, you know, it's great to see your comrades, your work colleagues, your friends on the picket line. You know, some of them have been having barbecues and all sorts of things, right? And it has been good fun, but I think that we have to make sure that we get a really good show outside of those workplaces. Make sure that you're attending the picket line, even if you can't be there all day, even if you're just there for an hour or so. Absolutely vital that people show support, the members show support for that picket line. You have to get out there and get on those picket lines, because look, we have built up a level in this dispute now. As I said at the beginning, there's a cumulative effect of the strike action, right? So everything that we've done so far is the foundations that we're standing on now. And the effect as it goes on gets even more, it gets more compounded. So we can't afford to waste what we've done so far. We have to keep on building on it, because we're at a crucial stage now where we're really, really piling up the pressure. And look, we're in Brighton at the moment at the TUC conference, and we've been listening to speeches today from other unions. And they've talked about the members in their unions that have taken strike action in the last year. And some of it has been sustained strike action. None of it has been easy for them to win their pay rises, and it's mostly been about pay rises. But I tell you, the number of stories that we hear coming to the rostrum today, time after time after time, of other unions getting up there and saying about where they've had workers in small groups in different places, and they've taken strike action, and they have won massive pay rises. They have won absolutely huge pay rises because they dug in, they sustained the effort, they went out on those picket lines, and they made sure that the company that they were working for, that they meant business. And that is what we have to do. CW members in BT and Openreach, you've got to show a visible demonstration to the company that you are supporting this, you're in it for the long haul, and you're not backing away from this. That's what we need to do on Thursday and Monday.
Thank you, Karen. Brilliant. So also should mention at this point, remiss of me really, to say thank you to all the some brilliant cross-union solidarity, which is special, really special. Thank you to all the posties who've been on, saying good luck to the BT and Openreach members, and also the BT and Openreach members who've been responding, saying good luck to the posties. That's what it's all about. We will be having loads of joint events across the UK, including lots of people have been saying they're going to Cardiff, which that's going to be exciting one. Make sure if you're in Wales, you get yourself there. And Andy and Karen, alongside other senior union officials, will be doing a big live joint strike rally in Brighton as well on Thursday morning. So we'll be broadcasting that live for you. Going to give you both a chance now to sum up, starting with you, Andy. Final rallying call for the members. Get them in the right place. G them all up, mate. From the comments, which is great. It doesn't look as if you have much work to do, but go for it.
No, well, look, you know, I'm just asking you, you know, to do what you've been doing up to now and give it a little bit more. You know, certainly the activists and reps that I've said out there, get as many people on those picket lines tomorrow. Let's show this company that we mean business. We really mean business. You know, they are starting to panic. Let me be clear about this. That's why they're sending some of the emails around to some groups of members. They're starting to panic now. This is beginning to hurt this company. Make no mistake about that whatsoever. And it's only by sticking together, only by getting on those picket lines, that we can show the strength. I, you know, when if and when I get in those talks, along with Karen and the rest of the team in early November, if and when we can get into those talks, I need to know that I've got the back of all our members, you know, and we need to be strong as hell when we get in there. And then, you know, so no rolling back at all in this strike. Let's ramp it up. You know, and the threat of further industrial action will certainly be there, and that'll be the backdrop to those discussions. We want a settlement in this. We have said this all along, right from the very beginning. Why the company has taken so long to actually really meet us, God only knows what the answer to that is. But I tell you what, we have asked consistently for meetings with this company. It has not been a union that's held back in this. We have always been willing to meet, and no matter what or who in the company tells you anything different, they are not telling you the truth. We are telling the truth. We have offered talks. They have now said to us they might talk to us in November. But those talks must be serious. So let's get out there, go on the picket lines. Let's show this company we mean business and strengthen our hand when we get into that negotiation. That's what I'm asking everyone to do.
Thank you, Andy. Brilliant. Karen, your closing message.
So my closing message is solidarity is everything. Being united is absolutely everything. Get out on those picket lines on Thursday and Monday. Make sure you're there. My branch would probably kill me if I didn't say, if you're in South Wales, get to Cardiff, get to that rally in Cardiff. And if you're anywhere in Sussex where we are, get to that rally in Brighton. It'll be well advertised, and make sure that you're attending those rallies. But more than anything, this is a really, really crucial stage in this action now. Really, really crucial stage. We really have, I think, that we've got the company on the ropes. We need to keep them there. We need to make sure that they are serious about talking to us, and they're going to bring forward an offer. So this is so important now to keep up that pressure and that support. So support the strikes on Thursday and Monday, and let's really, really put this company under pressure to bring forward a serious proposal and give you the pay rise that you've earned.
Thank you, Karen. Brilliant. So firstly, to say thank you to Andy and Karen for your time. I think you've done a great job. I think also to say, I think, judging by the comments, it's been a fantastic session as well. More importantly, even though than Andy and Karen is you. So thank you for all of your time, giving up yet another evening to come and listen to a really, really important update. I think you all know what we need you to do. We need you to get on the picket lines. We need you to back the strikes. We need to speak to your colleagues, and we need to make Thursday and Monday the biggest turnout of the strikes that we've had so far. So Andy and Karen go into those negotiations in November, into any talks they have with the company with the strongest possible backing, and BT in no uncertain terms of where your support lies. So we've got to get out there. We've got to do the work, everyone. We'll see you on the picket lines on Thursday. Take care.